risk your life for love in a land ruled by guns? The question hit me the moment she rose from the river water, sliding off her skin like a secret trying to escape. Dawn hadn't fully arrived. The light was weak, the kind that forgives sins if you move quietly. I had ridden into Devil's Ribbon Canyon for water and silence. Instead, I found a woman standing waist-deep in the current, clutching a rough brown cloth to her chest. Black hair plastered to her shoulders. Eyes wide like she'd just seen tomorrow, and wished she hadn't. Behind her, the river curled around pale boulders and carried away whatever lies people told it. Behind me, the desert held its breath. "Don't come closer," she said, voice low, but certain. "Not unless you intend to help or kill me." That's a kind of hook a man doesn't ignore. "I'm better at the first," I said, dismounting. "Name's Cole Ransom." She hesitated, as if names were weapons, then Maya. The way she said it made me wonder how many names she had worn before this one. A saddlebag floated near her, caught in a whirl. She made for it, stumbled, and the cloth slipped a little, just enough to reveal a glint of metal on a cord at her throat. Not a trinket. Something heavier. Something that didn't want to be seen. I stepped into the river. Cold bit bone. "Careful current drops," I warned, reaching for the bag. Our fingers touched, quick spark gone, and I tossed the bag to the shore. She followed, breath ragged. On land, she wrapped the cloth tighter. Not modest so much as strategic, like a gambler palming a card. "Someone after you?" I asked. She looked past me up the canyon walls as if expecting them to answer. "Someone is always after me." The morning brightened by a grudging inch. My horse drank and pretended the world was simple. I offered Maya my coat. She took it without ceremony and slipped it on, swallowing a shiver eyes, never leaving the canyon mouth. "Tell me what you're running from," I said, "so I know which direction not to ride." "That depends," she said, "on whether you believe in devils with white teeth." I've met men like that. "Where?" "El Dorado Junction," she said, and the name alone felt like a knife with a shiny handle. "Last night." She touched the metal under the coat just once. "And I didn't steal anything. I took back what was mine, which is," she gave me a look that said I could have the truth if I first proved I knew what to do with it. "A story," she said. "One man would kill to own." A raven cried from the rim. The sound flapped down and landed between us. I led her to a flat rock that remembered warmth even when the sun didn't. We sat. She watched the canyon mouth. I watched the road beyond it. "Why me?" I asked finally. "You could have stayed in the water until I rode past." "Because you looked at me like a person," she said. "Not a prize. And because I heard about you, Mr. Ransom. Drifter who can shoot straight, lie slow, and leave when he should." "I do 2 of those." "Well," I said, "which one do you doubt?" "The leaving," she said, and almost smiled. I brewed coffee in a blackened tin, and we drank it without talking. Steam opened the morning like a door. The silence wasn't comfortable, but it did not threaten to bite. After a while, she spoke, voice lower. "He called himself Vance Hollow," she said. "Wears a fine coat, keeps his boots too clean for a road like this. Owns more men than cattle. He thinks love is a leash gold braided through leather." She paused. "He thinks I belong to him. I've seen that kind of ownership. It always ends bloody." "You run from Vance," I said, "and he follows. He sent riders before the moon reached the ridge," she said. "I came south through the washes, then cut for the canyon. I thought the river could rinse me from the map." "It rinsed the dust," I said. "Not the danger." I nodded at the saddlebag. "What's in it?" "Not what matters," she said. "What matters hangs here." She touched the metal again. And no, you can't see it. Not yet. A breeze moved through the slot, carrying the faintest odor of horses that didn't belong to me. My hand eased toward the Winchester. Maya saw and went very still. How many? She asked. 2. No, 3, I said. Coming in slow, like they think the canyon owes them respect. Maya stood. The coat parted just enough to remind me she was both a weapon and a wound. She nodded toward a rock shelf 20 paces up. There's a cut there, narrow path to a ledge. If we climb, we can circle above them. I asked. You help me, she said simply. That makes this your trouble too. I don't know if that's law, but it felt like truth. I slung the saddlebag across my back, handed her the canteen, and we moved. The path was thin as a lie and twice as risky. Pebbles clattered away into the river's hiss. Halfway up, a voice barked from below. Girl, a man's shout, eager and ugly. You ain't hard to track when you shine like that. Maya didn't look down. Her jaw set the way a fuse does. We reached the ledge and flattened against the rock as 3 riders entered the river below, 2 rough men with eyes that had forgotten how to blink. And between them, a dandy in a dark coat that fit too well for the territory. White teeth. Vance Hollow. He reined in, studied the water like it was a ledger he meant to balance. Maya, he called, voice smooth as a banker's lie. Sweetheart, you've had your swim. Come down and put the world right. She leaned close to my ear. Do you have a shot? 2, I said. Maybe 3 if they act surprised by the first. Don't kill him, she whispered. Not yet. That a request or a test? Both. Vance lifted his face as if he could smell our breath on the stone. He smiled, and the canyon felt smaller. You're making this harder than it needs to be, he said. That trinket on your neck, it's wasted on you. Give it back and I'll forgive you your little adventure. Keep it, and well. He spread his hands. You know how stories end here. Why does he want it? I asked Maya. Because it tells the truth about him, she said. And men like Vance only survive the lie. I should have demanded the whole tale right there. Instead, I asked a worse question. What do you want? She turned. In her eyes, I saw a desert map, empty, bright, vast, and one heartbeat from fire. To live, she said, and to love without asking permission. The river moved, throwing light and coins across her face. Below us, Vance raised a hand. One of his men slid from the saddle and began to climb the slope on the far side. Slow, but sure. We're out of time, I said. Maya nodded. Then we make some. She pulled the coat tight, slipped past me along the ledge, and disappeared into a crease in the rock I wouldn't have noticed if she hadn't vanished into it. For a second, I thought she'd left me. Then her voice came from the dark, low and fierce. Cole, trust me. When I say run, we run. When I say stop, you stop. And when I say jump, you never said jump. I will. Her hand found mine in the dark. Warm. Certain. And in that same breath, a shot cracked, stone spat chips by my ear. And Vance Hollow said almost lovingly, there you are. The gunshot echoed through the canyon like thunder trapped in a box. Pebbles rained down the slope. Maya's grip tightened around my hand, then released. She stepped out from the shadows of the crevice and stood tall against the ledge. Her hair wild, the borrowed coat slipping from one shoulder. Vance, she shouted, voice sharp enough to cut stone. You think you own me? Then climb up here and prove it. The outlaw below laughed a sound too polished to belong in the desert. Always the performer, Vance said. But you're not the one with the audience, sweetheart. I am. He motioned to his men. One began climbing toward us, boots grinding into the rock. The other, dismounted rifle raised to cover him. Vance just sat his horse smiling up at us like he had all the time in the world. Maya turned her head slightly. "Cole," she whispered, lips barely moving. "When I nod, shoot the one on the slope. I'll handle the other." "You sure?" "Trust me." That phrase again. It stuck to my chest like a badge I hadn't asked for. The climber pulled himself higher, a jagged knife clenched between his teeth. 20 feet below, the rifleman steadied his aim. Maya waited, 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 then jerked her chin. My Winchester barked. The climber dropped knife, spinning useless into the river. At the same instant, Maya hurled a rock with fierce precision, striking the rifleman square in the temple. He collapsed with a grunt, his shot going wide into the canyon wall. Silence. Dust. And then Vance clapped slowly, mock applause, rising above the river's hiss. "Well played," he said, voice echoing. "But 2 tricks. Don't make a show. You're still mine, Maya. You know it, I know it. And that stranger beside you, he'll know it too." Maya's eyes burned. She raised her chin and shouted back, "You'll have to climb through fire to touch me again." For the first time, his smile faltered. He tugged the reins, wheeled his horse, and gestured for retreat. The men obeyed, dragging the wounded one. Vance turned once more to look up at us. Smile returned, but colder. "Enjoy your morning swim," he called. "Tonight, we talk again." They vanished around the bend. I exhaled, chest tight. Maya sank against the stone, trembling not from fear, but from holding too much rage in too small a frame. I crouched beside her. "You throw rocks like a gunslinger," I said. She almost laughed. Almost. "My father taught me. He said, sometimes a woman needs more than beauty to survive." Sounds like a wise man. Her face darkened. He wasn't. He sold me to Vance. The canyon seemed to grow colder. Sold not for coin, for favor. My father gambled away our land, our cattle, our name. Vance gave him credit, and in return, he gave me. She spat into the dirt, said I should be grateful, said Vance would keep me safe. "Safe," I muttered. "Safe in a cage," she said bitterly. She lifted the chain from her neck and revealed the object I'd only glimpsed before, a locket, heavy silver, engraved with symbols I didn't recognize. She snapped it open. Inside wasn't a portrait or a curl of hair, but a folded scrap of parchment, yellowed and worn. "What's that?" I asked. "The map," she said simply. "Vance calls it a key. To him, it's treasure. To me, it's chains." The parchment showed lines, rivers, ridges, marks like claw scratches across the desert. At the center, a cross inked deep, as if stabbed into the paper. "He thinks it leads to gold, hidden by his grandfather's gang," she said. "A fortune buried before the law came. With it, he'll buy every sheriff and mayor from here to California. He'll own the West, and you—" Her eyes softened, then hardened again. "I want to burn it. To watch the fire eat his dreams the way he tried to eat mine." I studied the map, the cross at its heart. Treasure or trap in the West, they're often the same. "You could run," I said. "He'd follow. You could hide. He'd find me." I sighed. "So what then?" She met my gaze, steady. "Then you help me end it. Tonight." We made camp in a hollow above the river fire, small horses tethered close. Maya sat across from me, locket dangling in the firelight, shadows playing across her skin. She pulled the coat tighter, but it slipped anyway, showing the curve of her collarbone, the rise of breath. She tried not to let me notice. Why trust me, I asked. Because you didn't look away, she said. Even when you should have. Maybe I don't know better. Or maybe you're the only one who remembers how. Her words weighed heavier than the locket. The night stretched long. Coyotes called from the ridges. Twice I thought I heard horses far off. Maya dozed at last, cheek against her arm, the coat slipping. I covered her with my blanket and tried to pretend it didn't matter. It mattered. Near midnight, the sound came again, hooves closer. I nudged Maya awake. Her eyes opened instantly. Hand at the locket. Vance, she whispered. We doused the fire and pressed into the shadows. Figures moved in the dark, torches flickering. At least 6 riders. Voices carried low but sharp. Spread out, one ordered. She's near. Maya's grip found mine again. Cole. If he takes me, he wins. Even if he kills me, he wins. Don't let him. I started to answer, but a torch swung close. Light spilling over us. A rider's eyes widened. Here, he bellowed. Shots cracked. Sparks bit rock. We bolted uphill, lungs burning. Maya clutched the locket, feet flying. The canyon narrowed ahead into a cleft just wide enough to squeeze through. We dove inside, bullets ringing on stone behind us. The passage twisted and spat us onto a hidden plateau, moonlight silvering the sand. For a heartbeat, we thought we'd escaped. Then a figure stepped from the shadows. Vance Hollow. Alone. Smiling. Gun already drawn. Game over, he said. The moon hung sharp above us, white as a blade. Vance Hollow stood alone on the plateau, revolver steady, teeth gleaming in a smile that had nothing to do with joy. Did you think you could outrun me, Maya? He asked softly. You glow in the dark, darling. A man only has to follow the fire. Maya stepped in front of me, coat clutched tight. You'll never have it, she said. Not the locket, not me. Vance's laugh was low, rich and cold. Oh, I already had you. What I don't have is the map you stole. Hand it over, and maybe I'll forget how much you've embarrassed me tonight. My Winchester was down by my side, useless at this distance. He had the drop, and he knew it. You kill us, I said evenly, and you lose your key. You'll never find your gold. Vance cocked his head. Funny thing about greed, stranger, it makes corpses talk. One way or another, he gestured with his pistol. Throw it here, Maya. She hesitated, eyes darting. Then slowly she lifted the locket from her neck. It dangled in the moonlight, silver catching silver. My gut twisted. Was she really about to give it up? Good girl, Vance purred. Toss it. She swung her arm. And instead of throwing, she slammed the locket back against her chest. Number. The word was thunder. Vance's smile cracked. Stupid choice. His finger tightened, and then a shot split the night, but not from his gun, from behind him. Vance jerked sideways, cursing as a bullet grazed his shoulder. Out of the shadows strode another man, rifle leveled, eyes sharp as hawks. For a second, I thought it was a savior. Then I saw his face, rugged, scared, too familiar. Elias breathed. My brother. Evening, Jack Elias said, rifle trained on Vance. You sure know how to pick your company. Maya blinked, torn between relief and suspicion. Vance stumbled, but his grin slithered back. Well, well. A family affair. Drop the gun, Elias ordered. Vance's revolver clattered to the sand. He raised his hands, eyes darting between us like a wolf weighing which lamb limps. Been a long time, brother, I said, not lowering my aim. What hole did you crawl from? Same hole you left me in, Elias said flatly. Difference is, I learned to dig. His eyes flicked to Maya, then to the locket. That it, Maya drew back. You're with him, Elias smirked. I'm with whoever pays. Tonight that's me. My chest went cold. You're hunting her too. I'm hunting what she carries, Elias said. You always chased love, Jack. I chase gold. One of us had to be practical. Maya's breath hitched. So this was all a trap, Vance chuckled through his pain. Seems the West is small, sweetheart. Men always show their true faces under the moon. Elias aimed square at Maya. Hand me the locket. Do it fast. I shifted, blocking her. Over my body. Don't tempt me, Elias said, voice harder than iron. The three of us stood frozen in a triangle of guns, blood, and betrayal. The night held its breath. Then Maya whispered, I'll decide. She stepped between us, eyes blazing. Neither of you owns me. Not you, Vance. Not you, Elias. And not even you, Jack. She touched my arm softly, almost apologetic. If I stay caged between men, I might as well hang. Before any of us could move, she tore the parchment from the locket, held it high, then thrust it into the fire pit we'd left smoldering from earlier. Flames leapt, devouring ink, devouring gold dreams. No, Elias roared, lunging forward. I fired at his feet. Dust exploded. Stay back. The parchment curled, blackened, vanished into ash. The treasure was gone. Maya faced them, breath heaving. Now there's nothing left to chase. Vance's face twisted. You foolish girl, he hissed. You think you ended it. You just started a war. Elias snarled, eyes burning into me. Always the same, Jack. You ruin everything. Better ruined than rotten, I said. For a moment I thought Elias would shoot me anyway. But he lowered the rifle, trembling with fury. This isn't over, he said. Next time I won't miss. He vanished into the night, swallowed by the canyon. Vance retrieved his pistol, blood dripping from his sleeve. The gold may be gone, but you're still mine, Maya. His smile was sickly sweet. One way or another, he backed away slowly, then mounted his horse. You can't burn memory, darling. And men like me, we don't forget. With that, he galloped into the shadows, his laughter fading into the night. Silence fell, broken only by Maya's ragged breath. She swayed. I caught her before she fell. You destroyed it, I said softly. I destroyed him, she whispered. At least for now. Her hand lingered on my chest, then slipped away. Her eyes, though, they stayed. The stars above burned hard and cold, but I felt something warmer, rising fragile as dawn. Still a question gnawed at me. Had we truly escaped, or had she lit a fuse longer than either of us could see? The fire died, slow embers glowing like secrets too stubborn to vanish. Ashes of the map drifted into the night wind, carried toward places none of us would ever see. Maya sat close to the flames, knees pulled tight, the silver locket still around her neck, but hollow, now its purpose gone. For a while, neither of us spoke. The silence wasn't heavy. It was raw, like a wound still deciding whether to scar. At last she said, "You think I was foolish?" "No," I replied. "I think you were brave. Fools chase gold. Brave souls burn it." She glanced at me, lips twitching in a half-smile. "Then what are you, Cole Ransom, fool? Or brave?" "Mostly tired," I said. And she laughed. Soft, unsteady, but real. We moved camp before dawn, climbing higher into the hills. Vultures traced lazy circles overhead. Somewhere down below, Vance Hollow nursed his wound and his anger, and my brother Elias plotted revenge in the dark. They were ghosts now, but ghosts always come back. By midday, we reached a ridge where the land fell away into endless desert. The horizon shimmered. Maya stood beside me, hair tangled by the windcoat, draped like a cloak. She looked out across the emptiness as if daring it to swallow her. "What now?" I asked. She touched the locket. "Now, I live without being hunted." "You think Vance will give up?" Her eyes hardened. "Number, but I'll never be his. Not again." The words carried steel. And yet, when she looked at me, something softer glimmered underneath. "Cole, you didn't have to stay with me. But you did." "Maybe I don't leave as easy as folks say," I answered. The space between us shrank. She leaned in close enough for me to taste the river still on her lips, the fire still in her breath. And in that fragile instant, the West itself seemed to pause. But the sound of a hawk's cry split the air, sharp and urgent. Both of us turned instinct alive. Down in the valley, dust trails marked riders, half a dozen at least, moving fast. Maya cursed under her breath. "Vance's men." I gripped her hand. "Then we ride." We mounted horses, lunging into the open plain. Wind ripped past hooves, pounding a rhythm older than law. The riders gave chase shouts echoing across the desert. The race was on. We cut through dry washes, leapt crumbling gullies, pushed until sweat stung our eyes. Still the riders gained. A bullet sang past, close enough to make my horse scream. Another slammed into the ridge behind us. "Cole," Maya cried. Ahead loomed a canyon, split, one path wide and easy, the other narrow and treacherous. No time to think. I yanked the reins toward the narrow cut. Rocks shattered as we squeezed through scraping stirrups, leaving the riders cursing behind. When we burst free, the desert opened again. The riders were slower through the cut, but they'd follow soon enough. We reached an abandoned mission by dusk, stone walls broken but still standing proud. Inside, shadows clung like prayers gone unanswered. I pulled Maya from her horse and into the dark sanctuary. We braced the doors with fallen beams. Outside, hooves circled. Torches flared. Vance's voice carried clear. "Maya Cole, you can't hide behind stone forever. Come out, and maybe I let you breathe another day." Maya pressed her forehead against mine. "He won't stop." "Then neither will I said. The night became a siege. Shots cracked, stone-chipped dust choked the air. But we held, shoulder to shoulder, heart to heart. Hours later, silence fell again. The riders were gone, driven back or waiting for another day. Vance's laugh lingered in the dark, but only as an echo. Maya curled beside me on the cold floor, eyes closing at last. Before sleep claimed her, she whispered, "Whatever happens next, I choose this. I choose you." And for the first time in years, I believe tomorrow might be worth fighting for. The desert has long memory. It remembers blood and gold, lies and love. It will remember us too. Two souls who chose fire over chains, who burned a fortune so love could live free. But the story isn't over. Not here. Not yet. Because in the Wild West, love is never safe. And secrets never stay buried. Thank you for staying with me until the very end of this story. If this journey through the Wild West touched your heart or kept you on the edge of your seat, do me a favor. Leave a like and share your thoughts in the comments. And if you don't want to miss the next untold story of love, betrayal, and survival, make sure you subscribe to Western Romance Stories. Until then, stay strong, stay hopeful, and I'll meet you in the next tale of the frontier.